Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. As a continuation oh, and let me just mention one more time. Some of you heard me and some may not have if you're just coming on. If you have a hardcover book, that could be handy to use as a prop later in the class, or a yoga block would be great too. Or if you don't have either of those things, a blanket will be fine. So you could grab something. And with that, unless anybody has any questions before we get started, I will mute all. Anyone, anything? Okay. I am going to mute you all. Most of you already are. And then I'm going to check my volume. And while I'm doing that, I'll just mention that over the past, it's only been 2 weeks in the summer session, but I've been talking about the tools that are available to us in yoga, and particularly in Yoga for Healthy Aging. And last week I read a little bit and we practiced specifically some breath control, which is one of the most important tools available to us. And the other one I wanted to talk about today is meditation, which can be a challenging topic for many people. So I just wanted to read a tiny bit about meditation as the third tool available to us. We have the poses, we have breath control, and we have meditation. Next week will be philosophy. Meditation typically involves concentrating on a non-stressful sight, sound, or physical sensation. It helps you to quiet your mind, which in turn switches your nervous system to the rest and digest state. And that's a state we want to turn to alleviate stress. All it takes is the following. So there's no magic to meditation. You need a focus for your mind. It could be a sound, it could be a word, it could be a physical sensation. We'll do a little bit more with that today. And it could be a fixed gaze on an object. So that's one thing it takes, a focus for your mind. Another thing it takes is a non-judgmental attitude. Doesn't matter if you achieve it or you don't achieve it, even moving towards that can be helpful. And then it takes a little time, a few minutes, 10, maybe 20. At the beginning, maybe just 5 minutes. Options include both seated and reclined meditation. In addition, your pose practice can be a moving meditation. And in fact, I've been talking a lot in my other classes about moving meditation. Can be much more accessible for a lot of people to move into meditation through movement. That could be walking. So if you're interested in that, I could talk about that another time. But I just wanted to finish up my little reading on meditation by reading this. Contrary to popular belief in yogic meditation, you're usually not trying to make your mind empty. So it's not about stilling the mind. I had a teacher, one of my first meditation teachers used to say, not to be morbid, but your mind will be empty when you're dead. We don't want that happening during meditation. Instead, the process begins by learning how to concentrate your focus. It helps to focus your attention on one thing, again, perhaps a word, a phrase, an object, or simply your breath. Since the mind tends to wander, even among experienced meditators, there may not be much or even actual meditation in any particular session. Still, this movement towards meditation all by itself brings physiological and health benefits. And that's what I really wanted to emphasize. That's what I feel is so key. Don't worry about whether you're doing it right or wrong. Don't worry about whether you're feeling calmed or quiet. Just the movement towards trying to achieve that can be beneficial. And there have been studies that prove that. So that's the point I wanted to make. And we'll do a little bit of meditation at the end of our session today. And with all of that, please come to sit either in your chair or on the floor. If you're on the floor, it is helpful to have a little height. So since most of you have grabbed a book or a block, sitting up on one of those can be very helpful. Ideally, we don't want the knees when we're seated on the floor to be lifted. So that sitting up on the block often allows the knees to relax a bit. Coming to sit in whichever position you have chosen. Find your stillness physically first. And then coming to concentrate, focus. Let's all focus here in these initial moments on your breath. And remember, the mind is going to wander. That's fine. Acknowledge it, smile, gently draw your focus back to your breathing. Please now draw your hands together at your heart center. Gently press your palms together and slide your thumbs just a little bit up the sternum to create more length. We'll begin with chanting Om 3 times. Please join me. Breathing in. Om. Inhaling and exhaling, replace hands to lap, float eyelids open. Please come forward towards the front of your chair. And we will begin, as always, by linking breath and movement in a simple flow. Please bring your hands together to your heart center. Sweep the arms up. And let's just take a nice full breath here. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling again, get long, and on your exhalation, twist towards your left. Waiting for the inhalation, join with movement, come back up to center. Twist towards your right, both hands release so they're not floating up in the air. Inhaling, lift. And exhaling, twist. A few more times with your breath at your pace. It's nice for me to see everyone moving at a slightly different pace, which is great because our breath is different from person to person. So I'd like to just emphasize that when we come into the twist, the torso stays very upright. It's not a release or a curve of the spine. So really invigorate that lift when you come back up to center and maintain the lift in the torso as you just twist from the ribs, the shoulders, the head and neck. And the next time you come to the first side, which would be your left, we will pause in the twist. Turning your head only, and neck, of course, head and neck over the opposite shoulder. So that left shoulder stays back. And now please dip your chin towards your right armpit. Your front hand can be on either knee. Lift the chin to parallel and then up to that place where your wall meets your ceiling. Torso is still in the twist. Head is opposite. Come back to neutral, lift everything up. We'll take that little hold to the second side, twisting open towards your right. And then turning head over opposite shoulder. Dipping chin towards armpit. This is a good time to focus. We're talking a lot about mental focus. Focusing on what you're feeling. It's going to be the focus of our meditation at the end of class. On feeling. Lift your chin up to that point where wall meets ceiling. Come on back to neutral. Sweep everything back up to upright. And exhaling, release arms alongside the body. And if you're seated in the chair, you'll bring your feet back a little bit closer to the legs of the chair. Hinge forward, find your long spine. And using your breath and a little momentum from the arms to help you, inhale. Exhale, hinge forward, come all the way up to stand. If you're seated on the floor, just make your way up to standing in any way you choose. Release the arms alongside the body. And I will just adjust my chairs and step back a bit so you can see. We're going to step the feet apart so they're wider than hips distance. And then lift the arms up overhead again. We won't be here long. Stretch the arms long. Release, I'll start on the other side. Release the right hand down the right leg and come into a side tilt towards the right. Working with the breath again. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, side tilt, second side, sliding that hand down now. The left leg. Inhale, lift up and side to side with your breath. The next time you come to upright, I'll adjust my view a little bit. Let's interlace the hands up overhead. Your feet are still quite wide. You're interlacing and you're coming into a side tilt with long arms and you'll hold. If this bothers you anywhere in your body, feel free to go wider. You can also release one arm. But if the interlace works for you, it works for you. Come on back up. Undo your interlace. Interlace in the less familiar way. The other index finger is going to come forward, might feel odd. Come over to the other side for a little hold. Arms are straight or straight, working towards straight. Breathing well, attentively. And inhaling, return to upright, float the arms down, step one foot and the other back to a standard mountain distance and be in mountain pose for a few breaths. Arms long without being rigid. Little weights, as if you had little weights on the tips of each finger. So the hands are active too. And most importantly, it's the stillness of the pose. Can you be in the pose without fidgeting or adjusting clothing, without moving anything around, just for another few breaths? And releasing from mountain pose. We are going to come in and out of that pose that we just did, coming in and out of the actual chair, but we'll be doing this without using the chair. So you're going to lift your arms up overhead and sit back in your imaginary chair. We've done this, I know, other weeks. Heart is a little bit lifted. Your hips are reaching back for that imaginary chair, and then inhale, lift back up to upright. This time, as you come into chair pose, arms out to the side, palms up, rotate thumbs back, sit back. Sweep the arms up, inhaling here. Exhaling, big opening, thumbs back, sit back. Do it 2 more times, inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling now. And exhaling. We'll pause here for a few breaths. So you want a little bit of a curve in your lumbar, your low back, your lumbar spine. So it's not a tucked position. You're allowing that natural curve to happen in your low back. 1 or 2 more breaths here. And just coming all the way back up to upright. And stand behind your chair. Some of you will be using it, some may choose not to. So if you don't want the chair, you can put it aside. It's a rainy day, so I thought we could do a few sun salutations. Bringing your hands, maybe bringing back the sun, maybe not. Maybe we've had enough sun. Bringing hands together at the heart center. Inhaling, lift up. Exhaling, bend the knees just like we did a moment ago. And lengthen legs, lengthen spine. Bending again, arms out. Inhale up. Exhaling, hands to heart. Each time we do this, we'll be adding on a slightly different variation. Lifting here. Bending. This time as you lengthen, some of you will be coming to a more upright position. Some of you who feel you can bring yourself a little bit lower. It could be hands to the chair seat. It could be hands to the shins. It could be hands to the floor. Allow the head to release if you're down on the floor. Pause here for a few breaths, wherever you are. What we're looking for is a stretch in the back of the legs. So wherever that happens for you without discomfort, explore. And coming up out of the pose, bend the knees, arms out to the sides, all the way up to upright, hands together at the heart center. And we'll add on 1 more variation. Inhale, lift. Exhaling, chair pose. Long legs, long spine, wherever that is for you. And then bending into either leg rather, step the other foot back for a lunge. Inhale, lift one arm, maybe lifting the other arm as well. Releasing, coming back, and stepping the other foot back. Find your lunge, torso is upright. Inhale, lift one arm. Maybe just for a moment, lift the other arm. Exhale, both. Step forward back to your chair pose. And inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, hands to heart. Pause, arms alongside the body, mountain pose. We're going to come into our chair dog. So I think we've done this almost every class, and we're going to add on a few variations. So take a quick look. I'll demonstrate quickly, and then we'll do it together. So we're going to be in chair dog at the chair. Then we're going to come forward into chair plank. So hips are forward, hands can hold the sides of the chair. And then the last piece of this, you might need to move your feet in a little bit, will become into up dog at the chair. Hips towards the back of the chair. You can see there's a curve in my back. That's what we're looking for. Then we'll come back to chair dog. Okay, so I'll talk you through it. Set yourself up for chair dog. We won't go that fast, of course. Set yourself up, please, for chair dog. Stepping back about a leg's length from your chair. And of course, if anyone has been doing yoga for a while and would like to do this on the floor, that's an option. So either on the floor or at your chair, coming into downward dog on the mat or chair dog. Okay. Marcia, it looks like you're still standing. Do you want to take one or the other? Okay, so chair dog, I'll demonstrate. I'm assuming of those of you who are on the mat, you know this process, so I won't demonstrate that. Inhaling, coming forward if you're at the chair, finding your chair plank. Hips, shoulders, knees, ankles in one line. If you're on the floor, it's like the top of a push-up. And then everyone finding your up dog. Hips towards the chair seat, lifting and finding that arc in your spine. Neck is curved, gaze is up. And exhaling, hinge back again. Chair dog. We'll do that one more time. Inhaling, come forward. Chair plank. Hips release towards the chair. Up dog. And I know there are some of you, sorry I didn't mention this, some of you have issues with your wrists. If you prefer, you can certainly do this at the wall with your forearms at the wall. And hinge back again, coming all the way back into chair dog or standard down dog. Bending your knees. Walk yourself forward. And bend knees. Let's finish it off. Inhale all the way up to upright. Exhale. Hands come together at the heart center. Release arms alongside the body. We're going to put it all together. All those pieces. So we're coming into a very full sun salute. And again, if you're familiar with full sun salutes, transitioning from standing to the floor, feel free to do that. But I'll demonstrate from remaining upright. Lift, bend, lengthen, wherever your lengthening is. Let's all bend the right knee, step the left foot back, find a lunge. Lift one arm, maybe the other arm for a breath or two. Exhaling, release. We're going to step back into chair dog right now. Chair dog. Find your chair plank. Inhaling. And little up dog, hips towards the seat of the chair. Exhaling, hips back. And soften both knees. Step now the left foot forward. Here's our lunge on the other side. Inhaling, lift one arm, maybe the second arm. Exhaling, both hands to the chair. Step the back foot forward. Here we are again in chair pose. Arms out. Inhale, lift. Exhaling, hands come to the heart center and pause in mountain. Be here for a few breaths. Kamala, you can't hear? Could I get, I'm getting signals of hands on ears from one student. Can I get a thumbs up from people who are hearing me okay? Yeah, I'm getting mostly thumbs up. Any other thumbs down? Only one other. Okay, I've got to suggest, since it's mostly thumbs up, that you try to adjust your own volume down where it says mute. There's an up arrow, you can do it there. So I'm not going to take any more time. I'll try to speak up. Let's come on down to hands and knees, please. When you come down to hands and knees, by all means, feel free to use a blanket. In fact, I recommend a blanket. If you're not a kneeler, no problem. This is your hands and knees position at the chair. So either one, coming down to hands and knees, find table pose or standing at your chair. Find table pose, hands directly under shoulders, knees under hips, crown of the head directly forward. We're going to lift one leg. Let's start with the right leg, knee out to the side. Knee comes to center and knee down. It's like a circle. You're almost tracing a circle with your knee. Out to the side, up, down. Let it be pretty fluid. Exploring your range of movement, and then reverse, side, down, up. And the next time the knee comes down, extend the leg long. Foot can either be on the ground or lifted a bit, and take a balance. Opposite arm lifts, or both hands can be grounded. Keep that foot lifted, cross it over the opposite ankle, turn your head to gaze back at your heel, getting a big stretch in the side body. Lift the foot up, come on back to center, and we're going to do one more thing. So bring that leg out to the side so it's right off the mat, and this is where you can use either that block or book that you grabbed or your chair. Bring forearm to the chair, or hand down to the earth or the block, other hand on hip. Inhaling, lift your shoulder. Exhaling, spin the body back towards the chair or the mat. I'll demonstrate now with the chair. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. The next time you lift up, let this be the held part of the sequence. Lift arm up towards sky, or keep your hand on your hip. Exhaling, bring the hand down. Come back to upright for a moment. So now you're in a kneeling version of mountain pose. So same alignment cues. You want that same upright position of the torso. So you're not rounding forward or pushing your hips forward. And let's do that sequence on the second side. You can just use your same position. I'll turn so you can clearly, I hope, see the whole sequence. And we'll start now with the opposite leg. So knee out to the side, up and down, out to the side, up and down. For those of you who are standing, same thing, out, down, and around. And reverse your circles. Coming finally to stillness. Extend leg long and take your balance. Could be opposite arm, could be both hands grounded. Release. Make sure both hands are grounded now and cross the leg over opposite ankle. Turn your head to look back towards your heel. Lift the foot up. Come on back to center, and now bringing that foot out to the side. Some of you will keep the right hand on the floor. Some of you will be using a block or your chair. Opposite hand comes to the hip. Lift, open, draw that top shoulder back. Exhaling, face the chair, the mat. Inhaling. And exhaling. One more full cycle of breath. Inhaling. Exhaling now. And for our hold, inhaling. Lifting arm towards sky, or feel free to rest with hand on hip. And release, face towards the floor again. Both knees come in. Walk yourself back up to upright, kneeling mountain pose. And we're going to come back up to stand. So this is a little bit of practice with agility. It's a great thing that we often practice in this style of yoga. So it's nice to use a chair to come back up, or any way that you choose to get here. And we're going to face the back of the chair towards the center of the mat. And turn your left toes right between the legs of the chair. Step the opposite foot back. Hips are away from the chair seat. Both legs are straight, so pulling the kneecaps up. Little side tilt towards the chair. Inhaling, side tilt. Inhale again. Side tilt. This time from your side tilt, extend that arm long. Maybe you can imagine that you're going to touch the wall, whatever wall is closest to that hand. And then release. Hand can come to the chair or be on the inside of the leg, opposite arm lifts, triangle pose. Head in neutral or gazing up. It might feel nice as well to look down towards your front foot. Come all the way back up to upright. Pause for a moment. We're going to keep the legs and the feet in the exact same position. Although I am moving mine a little farther apart. Body warms, there might be more space for movement. And keeping now the front leg bent, we're going to side tilt again, this time using the chair, or you can bring your arm to your thigh. Side angle pose. Return to upright and straighten the leg. Bend the knee. Side angle pose, arm alongside ear. Keep the knee bent and return to upright. We'll do that one more time for our hold, bending the knee. Find your side angle, wherever that is. Side angle could absolutely be with hand on hip. Always giving yourself permission to come out of the poses sooner if your body is asking for that. Come on back to upright and straighten the leg. Release the arms down. Turn all 10 toes forward for a breath or two in this very wide-legged version of mountain. We're going to turn to the other side and do that same sequence with your opposite foot forward. I believe this is now your right foot, and you're stepping the other foot back, turning your hips away from the chair to move into triangle pose. So with hands on the hips initially, we're just going to do our little side tilts. Exhaling here, inhaling to upright, exhaling now, inhaling, and on your next exhalation, this is where you extend your arm long and stretch even a little bit more. Maybe the hand will come closer to the wall that's closest. And then releasing, you can bring arm to chair or to inside of leg. Top arm lifts, triangle pose. As I am, you can keep your head in neutral or gaze up or down. And just a few more breaths here while I take a quick look. See what I can see. Yeah, nice alignment, everyone. Come on back up to upright. And pause with your legs in the same position. We will come into side angle pose. So for side angle pose, very similar, except the front knee is bent. Bend into the front knee. Forearm to the chair or to your thigh, arm alongside ear. Come back to upright and straighten leg. Bending, choosing a position for your arm, side angle pose. Coming back through warrior two, straight leg. And last time is our hold. Bent knee, arm to chair or to thigh. Nice long stretch. Feel that energy from your back heel out through your reaching fingertips, and make sure you're not collapsing into this supporting arm. Come back through warrior two, knees still bent, and straighten the leg. Release the arms, turn all 10 toes forward. And we're going to do, to counteract our sun salutations when we're trying to beckon the sun, now we're going to take a cooling pose. So that would be coming over to rest, either on the chair, imagine the chair is in front of me. Taller people, please use the back of the chair, unless you have a lot of flexibility in your legs. And some of you are coming all the way down to the floor, and that could be with the block at any height. So I think you've heard my cautions many times. People with osteoporosis especially, people with any disc or back injuries, don't go too low. You want to keep that length in the spine. That's it, Elaine. Nice. And if you're in a position where you can let your forehead rest, that might feel nice. But don't force it if that brings you into too much rounding. Lifting your head, soften your knees, bring yourself all the way back up to upright, please. And let's take, before we come down to the earth where it will be cooler, balance. So I'll turn to the side so you can see my feet, but you're standing directly behind your chair. You're going to bring your left foot forward so that the heel is touching the toes. And you're standing up tall. Mountain pose, one foot directly in front of the other. Shift your weight so your back heel lifts and you're coming just a bit forward. Replace the heel, lift the front heel up off the floor. Your weight will shift now back. Do that a few times, shifting your weight forward and back, forward and back. Then finding a place right in between where your weight is neither back nor forward, and come up onto your tippy toes. Squeeze your thighs together, bring hands to the heart center. Pause here. How would it feel to lift the arms? You're in one very long line from ball mounds to fingertips. And release, bring arms down, bring heels down. Let's go to the second side. So other heel comes forward. Heel touching toes. And again, it's that little shift of weight back and forward. Lifting one heel. We're not lifting toes. And then the other heel. Finding a place where your weight feels centered between those two positions. Coming all the way up onto ball mounds, squeeze the thighs together, hands at the heart center. Breathe. How would it feel to lift the arms up overhead? Maybe just one arm. Tiptoe balances are different, can be very challenging. Asks us to use our calf muscles in a different way. Exhale and release, bring the hands down, bring the heels down, and come on back to mountain pose. In fact, let's do mountain pose with our feet together, knees together. Sit back, soften the knees, and just take some swivels. Swiveling the knees in one direction, and then in the other. Coming to stillness, finding upright, and stepping the feet apart. We are going to now come on down to our mats. As you know, I don't come down onto my back, so I'll demonstrate one thing first from the chair. Imagine that I'm lying on my back. I'm really just reclining back in my chair, and anyone else is welcome to do this. So I'll do this just as a quick demo, drawing thigh in, taking circles, just like we did when we were kneeling. Circling the knee in one direction and the other, this will be on your back. And then taking pigeon, which means ankle comes over knee. You'll pick this other foot up off the earth, interlace behind thigh, and you can circle again. And then we'll extend the leg long for those who choose to. When you're on your back, that will be foot towards sky. And then release down, we'll do it on the other side. Then we'll come into something using those hardcover books or blocks. So have them handy. And that will be a bridge variation, which I'm sure all of you are pretty familiar with. So come on down to the floor, onto your back. If you're like me and you prefer to remain in the chair, feel free to do that. If you're on the floor, bending your knees. And feel that evenness in the backs of the hips or the sacrum. And let's start with the right foot, lifting the right foot up off the earth. You can interlace behind your thigh. If you prefer using a strap, you can use the strap behind the thigh and take some circles with your knee. They're really hip circles. And reverse. As best you can, keeping that other knee very still so it's not moving around with the working side. Coming to stillness, drawing thigh in a little closer to chest, and now cross ankle over your opposite knee, your left knee. If you're in the chair, you're coming to upright. And you'll hinge forward. If you're on the floor, you're simply lifting the left foot up off the earth. And here we are again, taking circles, circular motion, and reversing. Should feel some nice stretch in the outside of the right hip. And finally, coming to stillness. You can either remain here drawing in with hands around your left thigh, or some of you might like to extend that left leg, sole of the foot up towards the earth, towards the sky. And slowly take yourself out of the pose, bend the knee, replace foot to floor, uncross. And again, find balance. You might need to wiggle your hips out a little bit. We'll take that to the other side. So let's Draw the left thigh in towards the chest, or your second side, whatever that is. I think it's left. Take your knee circles first. One direction and then the other. Coming to stillness, drawing thigh in towards chest, and crossing now ankle over knee. Ankle is crossed over knee. If you're on the floor, you're lifting the right foot and you're interlacing behind the thigh. If you're in the chair, you're upright and you're tilting forward. Wherever you are, finding that sensation in the outside of the left hip or wherever you feel it. Coming gradually to stillness. And for those of you who choose to extending now, the right leg, sole of the foot towards the sky, or keep it bent. Maybe drawing that thigh just a little bit closer to the chest, but keep the knee away, the bent knee away. And releasing, bend the extended leg, bring sole of the foot to the floor, uncross. And here's where we will use, if you have one, the book or the block. Have them nearby. Initially, we're simply going to come into our flowing bridge. So in flowing bridge, knees are bent, soles of the foot are grounded down, and you can snuggle your shoulder blades a little more securely into the earth. Inhale, lift the arms all the way back behind you, framing your ears. Exhaling, release, arms come back to the earth. Do that one more time, just the arms, inhaling. And nice, full, complete exhalation. Now adding the hips. Inhaling, lift hips. If you're in the chair, this is definitely more challenging. You will lift your hips. And release hips, release arms. People on the floor, lifting hips, lifting arms. And exhaling, releasing back down. Last time, we're going to lift the hips, keep the hips lifted, release the arms down, and this is where you can take your handy dandy hardcover book or block and place it right behind you at your sacrum. So it's not at the waistline, it's a little bit lower, it's supporting you. This is a supported version of bridge pose. People in the chairs, you don't need that book, you can simply release back, find the support of the top of the chair and rest. People on the floor, feeling that support of the block or the book, or a rolled up blanket would work. And let your hips release into that support. This is a restorative pose. It's not meant to be a big stretch. It's calming to the body, to the nervous system, especially when you connect to the breath. So Judy, Beck, if you want to turn this into more of a restorative, you can lean back in your chair. So yes, so your shoulder blades come to the top of the chair and just let your arms relax in your lap. I just happen to be able to see you. I can't see everyone. Focusing here on that nice even flow of the breath. And lifting the hips just enough so that you can take that block or book out from underneath you. Release the hips back down to the floor. Stretch your legs out long. Or if you like to bend them and put them on a chair or a sofa or whatever you have nearby, feel free to do that. And settle yourself in for relaxation. Take your time to make your body comfortable. Finding a position where you can maintain stillness without rigidity. Arms relaxed. So arms alongside the body. Let's not make this too active. Arms alongside the body. Hands at least a foot from the hips. Stillness in the body. Breath at a natural rhythm. Mind continues to focus. That's our theme, focusing the mind, concentrating. It can be focusing on your breath. If you like to use a mantra, feel free to do that. A few moments of quiet. Allow your breathing to deepen now. Bring movement into fingers, toes, ankles, and wrists. If you're on the floor, bending your knees, rolling to one side, gradually making your way back up to upright. If you're in the chair, coming away from your chair back. We are going to end with a short meditation. So if you've never meditated, no worries. It's simple to understand, not always so simple to do. So it's all about focus and concentration. And usually we do focus on the breath, or often in meditation, sometimes on a sound or a mantra. Today we're going to focus on a sensation. And that sensation will be the touch of your breath at your nostrils. So I'll talk you through it. Close your eyes, please, if you feel comfortable doing so. Sit either in the chair or on the floor, ideally on some height. Your book or your block might be there. And turn your attention inward to your breath. Initially, just the rhythm of the inhale and the exhale. And now gradually drawing your attention specifically to your sensations as the air moves in at the tip of the nostrils. And what do you feel as the breath moves out as you exhale? Sensing and observing not just the rush of air, but the temperature. Do you notice the coolness of the air as you inhale? And a warmer temperature as you exhale. For the next few moments, focusing on the sensation of the breath at the tip of the nostrils. Coolness, warmth, flow of air. Drawing your hands now together at your heart center. Find that gentle pressure of palms together and feel your lift and length. We'll close with one Om together. Breathing in. Om. One more nice full inhalation, filling with the energy and peace of yoga. Exhaling, namaste. Thank you all for being here on this rainy Friday. One more class only. This went fast. Feel free to unmute if you have any comments or questions or requests. I did see one chat. Let me just read this chat message for people who were having trouble hearing. One person suggested, connect your device to external speakers. So that's another piece of equipment, but that might be a solution. I'm not as familiar with external speakers, but something worth giving a try.